Fit to Love, Episode 17, How the Law of Attraction Really Works.
Fit to Love is physical, emotional, and spiritual fitness to achieve the happy life you deserve. From exercise to cooking, relationships, and spirituality, you'll find all the inspiration you need right here with our host, JJ Flizanes.
Hello and welcome to Fit to Love Freedom Fridays. Today's show, How the Law of Attraction Really Works. I'm excited to be bringing you my very first solo Freedom Friday show. Except at the same time, this is going to be a short show because of a couple different factors. Number one, I'm a little bit under the weather. Number two, I'm exhausted because we did a lot of really great video shoots this week for our Mondays and Tuesdays, our Movement Mondays and our Tasty Tuesdays. And then three, going through these audios, I hope you understand and can appreciate on some level that I walk my talk. So I do the work and I try to always expand and kind of step outside my comfort zone. When I get too comfortable, I enjoy that comfort. I appreciate that comfort. But then if I come up against a trigger or something that's not working, or I'm attracting something and I don't know why, then I'm going to find out why and I'm going to change it if I can, or relax into it. So this week I had sort of a pretty intense therapy session and it sort of wiped me out. So my energy level isn't quite where I want it to be for you guys this week to really start this, but I have committed to bringing you this show, and that is what I'm going to do. I'm also wanting to make this a short show because this topic is so gigantic that I want to take it in small sound bites so you don't get overwhelmed and so you can just look around and apply it, because it's so dense that most of the people that listen to the Law of Attraction CDs from Esther Hicks get overwhelmed because it's pretty deep. And you listen to it multiple times, you can get multiple things from it, but it's like very direct and to the point. But the concepts, if you're not aware of them and familiar, can be overwhelming to understand. So I want to take Freedom Fridays and the Law of Attraction terminology when I do my solo shows and slowly go through these concepts so that you can really understand it. And why that I care that you understand it is because there's a lot of misinformation going on out there. And it deters people from understanding the leverage that you have with law of attraction, the leverage that you're not utilizing most likely in your life. And law of attraction can make your life easier when you work with it. It works whether you're aware of it or not. It just really helps when you're aware of it, because then you get to guide it the way that you want it to go. You get to attract consciously. You get to be deliberate about your thoughts versus just default to your subconscious mind or default to your patterns of behavior that continually gives you and brings you things that you're not interested in. You're manifesting things regardless, but are they things that you really want? So first I have to say, most of my studies about the law of attraction have come from the source, Abraham Hicks. You can go to abraham-hicks.com to learn more, and I absolutely recommend, if it's of interest to you, to go there or look on YouTube, listen to some audios, watch some videos, sign up for the newsletters or the monthly things that they do. I've seen Abraham in person multiple times, as well as always have a CD or 10 in my car, because it's like that pick-me-up. It gets me back on track when I have contrast, which is something you don't like. And if you get too caught up in that, it's a great reminder of the bigger picture. So why I want to share with all of you how the law of attraction really works is because I believe that there are so many people out there that watched The Secret back in 2005, 6, 7. The Secret was really, really big. And it's about the law of attraction. But the problem was the oversimplification about the law of attraction. I know many people had said to me, oh, I tried it and it didn't work. And of course, what didn't work about it was that they believed, after watching that movie, that all they had to do was stick some pictures on a board, put the board on the wall, and then occasionally think good thoughts and think, oh, this is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I want. And then they wondered, well, why don't I have it? Why don't I have it? So I want to clear that up. I also want to clear up the fact that the law of attraction is not a belief system. It's a law. It's metaphysics. It's quantum physics. There's a book called The Biology of Belief that explains the science involved. with the law of attraction and with, again, the biology of belief, of our thoughts, and the frequencies and vibrations that we put out there based on our thoughts and our feelings. And that's kind of where we're coming to right now. I also want to point out that the law of attraction is not a religion, and it is not in conflict with any religion. It's all-encompassing. So if you hear me say universe or source, you can substitute that in with whatever works for you. God, creator, Buddha, whatever your spiritual belief is. And if you don't have a spiritual belief, then maybe universe works for you, because that's kind of neutral. We all acknowledge that there is a universe, right? So the law of attraction is based on two principles: thoughts and feelings. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you get there. What is happening, how the universe, God, source, whatever, is matching what it is you're putting out is based on your frequency. Frequency or vibration. You can use those words interchangeably. It doesn't really matter. I know most of you can buy into frequency because you probably have a cell phone and you probably have a radio, and those things pick up frequencies. And I know that you all know that if you want to listen to 92.9 on the radio station, you can't have the dial set to 105.1. That's a pretty well acknowledged point that probably most people would agree with. Yes? You're on 105.1. You are not going to hear what is on 92.9. It's not going to happen. So if we understand frequency, when it works for televisions and radios and cell phones and internet, I want you to put that on yourself. What is your frequency? And I prefer the word vibration when it comes to us as human beings and even animals. All living things put out a vibration. And how do you know what that vibration is? Well, you know what you're putting out there based on how you feel. Now, when I say that, most people think, well, I thought it was about thinking about positive thoughts. So let's go over a very simplistic idea about thoughts and feelings, how they work. Because when I speak in groups, let's say companies, I always ask, how many of you think thoughts come first or feelings come first? And I normally get most people who think feelings come first. Feelings do not come first. Thoughts come first, because first you have a thought or you're observing something. And then from that observation or thought, you have an interpretation about what it means to you. And then after you figure out what it means to you, you normally have an emotional response to it. Let's take an example of looking at an accident, a car accident, and having 5 eyewitnesses. Based on each individual and their current vibration or frequency and their point of view and who they are and how much they saw and if they were paying attention or if they were in another place, they're going to give potentially 5 different versions of that story. How many of you have played that game where you sit in a circle and you whisper into someone's ear a phrase that has been given at the start? I think it's called telephone. Someone starts it and they have a phrase like, my laundry basket is yellow. And then you whisper it to the next person and the next person, and it keeps on going down the line. And by the time it gets to the end, it's a completely different sentence. That would be the example of the difference of interpretation. Somebody heard something and then they interpreted it, and then they said it to the next person who may or may not have heard what they were saying, but whatever they heard and were interpreting, they then repeated to the next person, which is why at the end it's completely different than when it started. How we all look at something, how we observe it, and based on where we live on our frequency level is how we're going to interpret and then feel about it. So thoughts come first, feelings come second. However, most of us are not really aware of our thoughts. And I by no means am encouraging everyone to pay attention to every single thought that they have. I don't want to make you crazy. That's not the point. But there are 2 ways in to law of attraction. One is by changing your thoughts and being deliberate about your thoughts and catching yourself with those thoughts. If any of you listened to the podcast I did, Sexy Saturday, I believe it was the top 5 myths about marriage, I told a story about my mom and I driving to a dinner that my clients had invited us to one Thanksgiving many years ago. And because of the difference of the freeways here versus in Pennsylvania, she was nervous. There was a lot of things going on. She wasn't used to that. And so she said to me, your driving is making me nervous. And I responded then by saying, it's not my driving that's making you nervous. It's your thoughts that's making you nervous. My driving, while, some people would say it was perfectly fine and other people would say, yes, it was too fast or, it wasn't as careful as you could have been. It doesn't matter because there was a trigger there. The circumstance to her, she interpreted as being scary. But in that moment that she had that thought, and I know a lot of people who at that moment, once you are nervous, then you start the rest of the conversation about, oh my God, look at all these cars coming. Are we going to get hit? This is really fast. This is really dangerous. I wish this wasn't happening. And all of a sudden you start to have that conversation in your mind about the thing that made you nervous. You had that choice once you acknowledged the thought that was making you nervous to decide, or not making you, but when you had the choice about the thought that was bringing you into a nervous state to decide, am I going to continue telling myself the story that makes me nervous, or am I going to redirect my thoughts into something else more pleasing? The reason I bring this particular story up is because I also ride in cars with people that sometimes when they're driving, I'm not quite happy with the quality of the driving. And I remember one trip to Vegas with my ex-boyfriend's sister. She was driving really close to cars and she's very carefree. And I remember being nervous, but I wasn't going to tell her how to drive. But I remember thinking to myself, you know what? She doesn't want to die. I'm pretty sure she'll have good reflexes. She's a dancer. She's paying attention. So I'm just going to trust that she doesn't want to die and that we're going to be okay. And I'm going to look out the window and think about something else. And then from then on, I was focused on something else. So you can handle and get into the law of attraction by your thoughts. Here's the caveat I'm going to throw at all of you about thinking, because people think, oh, think positive, think positive. You can think positive and talk positive and say as many positive things as you want to, but if at the end of the day it doesn't change your feelings, then it hasn't changed your frequency or vibration. So you can say, well, I'm the most positive person because everything I talk about is really positive, but yet you're attracting all this negative stuff because you haven't dealt with the feeling part of it. The point of having positive thoughts is to evoke positive feelings. So at the end of the day, law of attraction is based on how you're vibrating, on how you're feeling. And we can leverage our thoughts to feel better. And that's the point. But positive thinking isn't going to do it if the belief or the feeling that you're holding on to is opposite of what you're thinking about or talking about. And people can feel that. I mean, can't you feel that in somebody else? I mean, I've got plenty of examples in my mind of someone who puts on a smile, who tries to be pleasant, but you can tell that they are angry. They're depressed. There's something going on underneath that is pulling them into sort of a negative vibration. But they're trying really hard to be upbeat and positive, but it isn't working. And if you look around, you can see those people. And then those people have bad things happen to them, and then they wonder why. So the law of attraction is about vibration or frequency, whichever one makes more sense to you. Not about putting pictures on a wall, not about thinking positive just to think positive. All the tools, all the efforts that are made to change your thoughts are because we want to get into how you feel. Now, you can change how you feel if you're paying attention to your thoughts. If you're telling yourself all these negative, bad stories, then absolutely getting in there and changing the story will probably change the feeling. So I'm not trying to discount the thoughts. I just want you to be clear that it's not just about the thoughts. It really is about the feeling. So however you get there, as long as you're changing the true feeling by being grateful what you have, and it's a practice. It's a practice to listen to your thoughts, to be aware of your thoughts, to be aware of your beliefs. Most people don't even know what they believe. If you want to know what you believe, look around at what you keep manifesting. It will tell you. I have clients, friends, colleagues, people who I know have struggled in different areas of their life, and they take action, but the action doesn't result in success because the deeper belief hasn't been changed yet. People who really don't believe they're ever going to be thin. People who really don't believe they're ever going to find love. And if that's what you really believe, that's what you're going to manifest. And the great news about all of this is you get to change the belief because the belief was given to you. The belief was created by a story. The belief was put there by some traumatic event that then you create a story around and continue telling to yourself. It isn't necessarily going to shift overnight, But I promise you, I've done it myself. You can change your beliefs, and you can change your feelings, and you can change your thoughts, and you can change your life. It's possible. I've done it. I've watched it. I've witnessed it. And I just want to make sure that people don't discount the power and leverage that the universe, God, source, creator, whatever you want to put there, has. Even if you believe in a religion that says, well, I'm going to be taken care of, you are taken care of, and you're already taken care of. It's, are you using the tools that you've been given? No one else can think your thoughts for you. No one else can feel your feelings for you. And no one else can create the point of view that you have but you. So I just want to make sure everyone recognizes the power that you have over your life, the power you have over manifesting things that you want, as well as recognizing when things show up that you don't want. And it's not necessarily because you thought about it, it's that you're vibrating about it. I've heard so many people say, well, I wasn't thinking about someone robbing me. No, but if you're constantly nervous about things going wrong and not feeling sure and feeling scared, then you're vibrating at the same place where those things happen. While you didn't invite it in with particular thoughts or visualizations, you were vibrating at that frequency where those things happen. You have two parts to your mind. One is 12%, which is your conscious mind. This is what you're aware of. These are the thoughts that you think that you can hear yourself think. Then you have the 88% of your mind, which is subconscious. It's unconscious. You're not necessarily going to hear that. That's why you work with someone doing hypnosis. That's why you do some therapy. That's why, dreams. People that interpret dreams is really good because your subconscious mind is really active at night. But we're just dealing with law of attraction on the 12% of your conscious mind. There's lots of things we can do for that 88% for your subconscious. But first and foremost, the thing that you have access to, the thing that you have the most control over, deliberate thinking, deliberate focus. I'm going to give you one more example of vibration and focus. When I speak in groups, I talk about the power of positive thinking. One of the things I always ask the whole group is, how many of you have purchased a car recently? Or in the last 5 years, and you can remember that when you were either in the process of buying the car or after you bought the car, all of a sudden you see that car everywhere. It's like everybody has the same car. Now, did everybody really go buy the car at the same time you did? No. You're focused. You were tuned into that car. Your vibration was about that car. So all of a sudden now you notice it everywhere. So you get to choose your focus. You get to choose your thoughts. Maybe not the first one. Maybe there's something that happens and something gets triggered in you, and now you have a negative feeling. You may not control that, but you absolutely, after that has happened, control the conversation around it. If you're going to go down the deep, dark hole of continuing to milk that negative feeling, not that you shouldn't express it, not that we don't want you to process it, but if the conversation continues on and on, if you call 5 more people and tell 5 people about this story, about this negative thing, then you practice having this negative frequency and negative vibration. So guess what? It's not going to get better. I have practiced for the last 7 years gratitude calls. I do them every day, all day. I've got the list keeps building. I've got, I think, 7 people now that do these gratitude calls with me. My whole morning for hours is about calling 5 or 6 different people, living a few different gratitude messages, and then having them call me. So I'm literally listening to and making hours worth of calls about gratitude because we're so used in our society to complain that we don't know how to milk the good stuff. We don't know how to just appreciate and find the best of the best things to be focused about. And that's what that's about. So in coming weeks, we're going to go over all different kinds of fun tools you can apply right now that are free and they can really make a big difference in your life. So the law of attraction is about frequency and vibration. And whether you get there through your thoughts or you get there through your feelings, it doesn't really matter. What matters is how you feel and that your feelings shift. But focusing on feelings might not get you there because you may not know how to get out of it. So maybe focusing on thoughts can help you shift what it is you're telling yourself so that you can affect the feelings. But it isn't about just thinking positive. It isn't just about affirmations unless these things move or shift you into a higher frequency or higher vibration. I'd love to hear any comments, any questions, any debates that you have about this topic. It's going to be a topic we're going to talk about a lot. I'm so excited about it. It's so powerful. The leverage of the universe is just amazing, and I want everyone who's interested and willing to experience the power that you all have at your fingertips. So I appreciate you being a part of the podcast. If you want to subscribe to the podcast, you will get instant downloads and make sure to get every single show. Thank you so much for being a part of my first solo Freedom Friday. I look forward to many more to come. Have a wonderful weekend. If you are like most people who struggle with overeating, you may feel powerless over your habits and urges to eat. Powerless over what and how much you eat. Break the vicious cycle of emotional eating and take back your power over food with Dr. Lisa Gelper. Dr. Lisa Gelper has helped thousands discover their own power over food and help them to win freedom from the obsession and defeat that haunt yo-yo dieters, emotional eaters, and those who just hope to lose some weight. Visit her site at poweroverfood.com to read her articles, watch her videos, sign up for her monthly email tips, and check out her current classes. Again, that's poweroverfood.com. Get the hottest tips and latest trends for your business success with today's Innovative Woman magazine, a free print and online digital magazine. Plus, receive the special bonus video series, Platforms for Profit, the must-have marketing essentials for outrageous success, taught by media and marketing strategist Kathy Alessandra. Who is today's innovative woman? She's a smart and savvy business owner. She is driven and committed to success. She invests in herself and her business on everything from products to grow her knowledge, services to grow her business, and events to learn and connect with potential clients and customers. You can claim your free subscription today and get it mailed to your home or office at today'sinnovativewoman.com. The Fit to Love podcast show offers you 6 days a week of helpful content to achieve the happy life you deserve. Movement Mondays and Tasty Tuesdays are weekly video casts, while Wellness Wednesdays, Thoughtful Thursdays, Freedom Fridays, and Sexy Saturdays are audio-only shows themed every week to address your holistic life and needs. If the show inspired you, we would love for you to share it and subscribe. Thank you so much for joining us today. Head on over to fittolove.tv for recaps of every show, resources, and to join the community. That's FIT, the number 2, LOVE.TV. Have a fit and fabulous day.